topic of that topic is a unhappy topic. Let's talk about the future.
That's true. Yeah. So where do you see Zen in the future? Well, what's left on the roadmap? I know we kind of touched on kind of a new token, but what's left on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
roadmap
Let's
for
talk
Zen?
about the reflection token. We haven't
Please,
talked
yeah.
about that.
Let's talk about it.
So a reflection token is a vertical integration of Zen into a new token that actually has a hard cap.
Okay, let's delve into that further. So, what are the tokenomics of this new token? What's it called, and how does one participate in it slash acquire it?
Okay, great questions. It's not called anything yet, but the
Okay,
tokenomics look like this: hard cap at 100 million.
okay,
The distribution time is 5 years. The rounds of distribution are monthly. Every month, you can mint some for yourself. Okay. Now, how do you mint it? Every month, you can choose to sacrifice your Zen to burn for the shares of the issuance of the monthly emissions.
okay. Now, you mentioned shares for the issuance. Is would it be fair to kind of begin to think and rationalize this share system as something equating or something similar to again, I hate to make a connection where it might not make sense, but you tell me if it does make sense. A kind of T-share system for Hex, where
So T-share system in Hex competes for yield, okay, which is very different than the tokenomics I'm describing.
okay,
In this particular case, just imagine a pie chart. Imagine there's two users, yourself and me. Now, on May 1st, arbitrary month, we come with 5 million Zen each, and we burn it on May 1st. Now, the split of a pie is 50-50. You get 50% of the emissions, I get 50% of the emissions. That is the creation of the new token, creation part. Now, if we do that and we are split at 50-50, we actually can see on the leaderboard that both of us have the same interest in the new emissions that are coming, correct? If a third player comes and says, wait a second, those two guys are weak sauce. I'm coming in not with a million Zen, I'm going to come in with 100 million Zen. And what happens is the system will say, okay, those first two players only have 2 million, the other guy has 100. What is the split now? 98% in his favor. Okay. And then both of us, we said, well, wait a second. We thought we were only two players. It's not fair that he's coming in with 100 million Zen. We need to up our stakes. We're going to add another 99 million, both of us, so that
mm-hmm.
at least we're equal. Now the pie has three players, 33% each. So the game mechanics here is that the dashboard shows the players, and whoever contributes enough Zen for the shares will be able to compete for those shares of the distribution that happen monthly.
Wow. Okay, I could see this.
Do you see the game theory here?
I see the game theory.
How
Yeah.
the number 4 may come and say, "You guys are all weak sauce. I'm coming in with 10 billion Zen."
Now, one thing though is is the when you come in with the Zen, is the Zen being burned?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah.
great for Zen holders. Whoever
Right.
isn't even playing this game, their Zen becomes deflationary and goes up in value.
Yes. Yes, it certainly does. Wow, that is super interesting. Now, let me present to you with an idea that I think is a problem, and I want to see if you
Sure.
agree this is a problem as well.
Okay.
So I've been talking to kind of some traditional finance people, um, and talking to them about crypto. One of the problems I'm finding is that traditional finance people, for right or wrong, bring with them a degree of baggage in terms of what they feel is necessary in terms of um, in terms of due diligence in order to consider an investment vehicle um, in order to consider whether an investment vehicle is viable or not. What I'm getting at here is what I'm finding with a lot of cryptocurrencies, especially with Hex, is that there's a lot of ambiguity. And to find out how the systems work, and this is not just with Hex, there's many different cryptocurrencies, you usually have to go and like ask dudes and like try and pull information. And what I'm trying to get at here is that I really feel that's something similar to a white paper where either a member of the team, a founder, breaks down exactly how the tokenomics and how the system, how the smart contract is intended to work. I understand that these things are often like uses kind of marketing information, but whenever you kind of lack something equating a white paper where you break down at the intention of how the system works, the tokenomics, smart contract, whenever you lack that, I think that does act as a barrier to a lot of players that one might otherwise want interacting within the system. That degree of ambiguity where you kind of have to watch a live stream, or you kind of have to kind of ask some dude to figure out how a system works, I think is a friction point for a lot of adoption. Do you see that as a friction point? Do you
Absolutely.
see the need for something like a white paper breaking down how a protocol works?
That's
Yeah,
why our project has at least 2 white papers now. There's the original Zen white paper and there's NFT white paper.
I see.
It
Okay,
describes everything.
I wasn't aware. That's good to hear.
No, 100%. I mean,
Right.
not only we have the white papers, we're also audited at least twice, both contracts.
And with these kind of new ideas you mentioned with the NFTs, but with this new token, is the idea to as well just have this in writing as how the protocol
Of
works?
course,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean,
Okay.
here's the reason to be ambiguous. If you're a slippery traveling salesman that is selling snake oil, you will be talking about what it does, but you will not have a manual how it works. And
It's definitely a friction point for
and
sure.
the reason to do that, the benefit to the slippery salesman is to generate FOMO with as little information as possible to generate as much of interest as possible without selling anything that's worth value.
Jack, I don't like how much I'm agreeing with you here. Okay, I got to come up with ways that can
Why
kind
don't you like it? I mean, I
of.
think those are like really obvious things. Like
It is. Yeah.
everybody's like should be on board with that sort of a thing. Like, why would
It's
you be getting into a token that has no white paper and just one or two people talking about it that like don't even have a face on them?
yeah, yeah. It's certainly a problem when it comes to more, I don't want to say serious players, but it's definitely a friction point when it comes to adoption for sure.
Well,
So
we stand for fairness, and
mhm,
our foundation's name is Fair Crypto Foundation, and
mhm,
fairness comes with transparency, because the true value comes from the equilibrium of participation across the world. Like, in other words, we want something to be so transparent, so easily understood that everybody gets it, that everybody wants to play. Not some sort of group on tangent that's sitting in some sort of area, end up pumping the token, and then the founder disappears in some other country or whatever,
right.
right? We
Yeah.
want the world adoption. We don't want a short-term pump. We want the longest possible value.
And so interesting. Yeah. And, so why don't we answer some kind of audience questions here? I just saw a couple questions.
Yeah, let's do it.
Ryan Torres is saying, for reflection token, do you compete for Zen burn every new month, or is it compounding your burned Zen for 5 years?
You compete every month. You compete every month, but every month there's less tokens to compete for. It's
Ah,
declining. So if you come in early with competition, that's the FOMO inducing narrative, if you will. So you're coming in early, you get the most tokens to compete for. And of course you should get more tokens because you take the most risk. If you're coming in as the last person in the middle of the minting period, let's say in 3 years, of course you should be getting 60% less of tokens because it's already established its presence. So the earlier participants take on the most risk, therefore the rewards should be higher.
Right, of course. And again, the more I'm getting to know Zen better and better, the more the inflation is really hitting home to be the feature, not the bug. Because like again, because I want to make it clear, I heard so much uh FUD about Zen when it first came out that I actually didn't bother looking into it. And in retrospect, I'm frankly ashamed of that because I did the same thing with Hex, where I heard some FUD from some people I respected, and I ignored Hex. And it wasn't until Hex did thousands of X growth that I came back and I looked at it and I said, "Oh my god! If I would have just paid attention when I first heard about it, I could have potentially benefited." And so
I,
I
I don't I
really didn't
don't
want to fall in the same trap.
yeah, I mean for sure fighting is just so silly, especially with stuff that's free. It has the lowest barrier to entry. Like why are people worried that somebody is getting stuff for free just for the price of gas? You pay gas anyway. It's a bear market. It costs almost nothing. Why would you be upset
I
about?
said, suppose the argument, at least from what I've heard, is that you're not creating value. Like for example, when you buy something, you're putting economic energy into it, but while minting, I suppose
Okay.
you're not.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Let's say 200 million people minted a wallet each. It's $5. 200 million. How much money is spent on gas? $1 billion. Are we gonna really assume that $1 billion has no value?
Well, the value would essentially go to ETH stakers. It would essentially go to making ETH more expensive,
Deflation,
arguably, which
deflationary.
which
Okay, well,
actually helps Zen.
first of all, let's clear up that argument. The gas you spend does not go to validators. 90% of that gas is burned.
Why so?
It is so because of the London fork. The London fork specifies in its description that 90% of gas is actually burned. And you can see it on Etherscan.
Right, right.
So
And if
validators
you
only make 2%,
and if you're
2% of the stake amount.
right, and if you're burning ETH, you're making it more scarce, more valuable, therefore potentially more expensive to mint, which is actually beneficial to previous Zen participants.
Right. So
Yeah.
do we or do we not have value? Where did the $1 billion go? The $1 billion, 90% of it got burned, reduced Ethereum supply, made Ethereum more stable, and made everybody's project more stable because of it.
Yes. Yeah. Look, there's a lot of very poor arguments against Zen. Like again, for me, this seems to me like a new, unproven idea where if it fails to get adoption, I could see Zen failing.
I want to share a screen real quick.
Please do.
Bring it up. All right. All right. Number 18, Shiba Inu.
Mm,
By many parameters, arguably a shitcoin.
sure.
What is the total supply?
I'm seeing a lot of decimal points there, a lot of commas.
Let's say millions, billions.
Billions, trillions.
1,000 trillion is a quintillion.
It's a lot.
Is it a lot?
I'd say it's a lot.
Okay, fine. Let's say that I think they say that 50% of it is locked up and the keys
Sure.
are burned or something like that.
Yeah.
Let's go to the circulating supply.
Which is what matters.
589 trillion. Now they minted everything at once with one button press. Somebody hit enter, a quintillion tokens showed up. Now you could argue that this is one of the most inflated tokens out there, which is true. Let's look at their market cap. Almost $5 billion, right? Let's look at the trading volume. $100 million in a bear market. And of course, they're number 18. So this argument of something that's being abundant that has no value because it's abundant does not actually fly.
It's an extremely good point because what really matters is not the total supply. it's really a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a supply that's interacting in the market at any given time.